Thank you very much, Bishop John Arnold. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome you here formally, and as we gather over 1 year since that dark day in May 2017, we reflect on those that are still coping with the loss of their loved ones. The 22 people brutally killed as they attended a concert in what should have been a time of happiness and joy. The Sufi shrine of Eidgah, Sharif and the Ramadhan Foundation are deeply honoured that the father and grandmother of one of the youngest victims, Olivia Campbell Hardy, Andrew Hardy and Sharon Goodman, are here with us tonight. The past year has been very difficult for the family, and I hope that they take comfort from the love in this room and the love that people around the world showed to not just to you, but to the families of all those that lost their life and all those that were injured. Olivia had so much more to give to the world. She had dreams to live, goals to achieve, which sadly will not happen. I want to say we will not forget her, and I want to pay tribute to her father and grandmother, who are working hard to keep her memory alive and making a difference to the world. I've spent 13 years working to defeat and expose terrorism in this country and around the world. The struggle has been difficult and challenging, but we've always drawn inspiration and strength from families like the family of Olivia and all those victims of terrorism around the world. We reaffirm at today's conference, we stand with the families and will do whatever we can to help them recover and keep the memory of their loved ones alive. Let me be very clear, Islam totally forbids terrorism and the killing of human beings. Those that carried out the Manchester Arena attack and all those terrorist attacks we saw last year do not do so in the name of our great faith. The terrorists have used Islam as a cover for their evil crimes. We in the Muslim community have been consistent on the importance of speaking out and stopping young people being brainwashed into terrorism. We do this work not because of the government says so, but because our faith demands us standing up against injustice. However, to be honest, the Manchester Arena attack was very difficult for me personally. This is my home city. I walk through Manchester Victoria Station twice a day when I'm coming and going to work. And I pass those steps, and twice a day as I pass, I remember the victims and their families and what happened on that dreadful night. And it's given us even more determination to confront and defeat this evil. Whether it was the Manchester Arena attack, the London Bridge attack, or the Finsbury Park Mosque Attack, the response from our communities has been one of unity, solidarity and love. The terrorists from the margins of the Muslim community and the far right have one thing in common. They hate unity amongst communities. They feel threatened by cohesive communities, and their hate is rejected by decent people around the world. As the Honourable Sheikh Hassan Nasibur Rahman said in the aftermath of that dreadful night in Lahore, it is not good enough to just condemn terrorism. We have to stand together as one community of humanity. We have to extend our support to the police and government as they keep us safe, and expose and reject the evil ideology which gives succor to these terrorists. That means we have to take on those that carry out the terrorism, those that finance it, and those that support it either verbally or remain silent and refusing to speak out. That was the Sheikh speaking on that night about the threat of terrorism in Pakistan. I want to take this opportunity to pay tribute to the police, the emergency services, the NHS, the intelligence agencies, who on that night did not fear about a secondary bomb or further attacks. They headed to the arena and used whatever resources they had in their hands or in front of them. They had to help those that were injured. They are, in my eyes, the true heroes, and that we are very proud to honour all of the emergency services here today by recognising through the Greater Manchester Police Assistant Chief Constable Russ Jackson, who is leading the investigation and is also the head of the Counter Terrorism Unit here in the Northwest. We appreciate he won't be able to tell us about that investigation, but we want you to know, sir, that we stand with you and we stand with your investigation, and you have our support and solidarity as you continue the hard work in bringing the culprits to justice. As part of this conference, we will be sending out a press notice to announce the following messages that we issue on behalf of the Honourable Sheikh and the British Muslim community and wider society. The declaration is this: we reject terrorism and its evil consequences, whether that terrorism comes from extremists on the far right of the Muslim community or white supremacists and the far right terrorism. We call on British Muslims to support the police and intelligence agencies to keep our country safe. Anyone with any information or suspicion about terrorist activities has an Islamic duty to report to the authorities. Number 3, we urge all British Muslims to step up activities against terrorism, stop any extremist speeches peddling hate in our communities. And we urge all faith community and leaders to stand together in unity against terrorism. We may all be strong in our own individual faiths, but it now requires us to stand together to defeat hatred and division. We call on the British government to support communities and increase financial support for places of worship. Whether it's a synagogue or a mosque that is attacked, it is indeed an attack against all communities. We call for an end to the increased Islamophobia that has been perpetuated in our society by certain groups, politicians, and a minority of the media. And we call for increased support for the families of the victims to help keep their loved one memories alive. I'd like to take this opportunity to pay my own personal tribute to the Honourable His Excellency Sheikh Hassan Nasib Rahman, the custodian of the Sufi shrine of Eidgah Sharif in Pakistan. As I said, on that night, he spoke in Lahore in front of 35,000 people about the evil nature of the attack. His short life has been about confronting and exposing terrorism, and that journey has taken him to the Taliban areas on the border between Pakistan and Afghanistan to confront the crimes and their ideology. And this, ladies and gentlemen, has come at some personal risk to him and his family. He's under 24 hours special protection because of those threats. He's been subjected to death threats, but yet this has never deterred him. It's actually made him stronger. His leadership and record of work is truly inspiring. He's helped stop the brainwash of thousands of people in Pakistan and around the world. And it now requires not just our government, but governments around the world to recognize his unique contribution in defeating terrorism. And on his tour here last year, I think over 150 towns and cities he visited, every single stop, every single opportunity, every group of people he was talking to, he was taking on the narrative that the terrorists use to brainwash people, and telling young people that if you want to work in the way of Islam, if you want to make your lives better in this life and the hereafter, you've got to come back to the real message of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, which is one of tolerance, love, and a middle path. So on behalf of the Ramadhan Foundation, the Sufi shrine of Eidgah Sharif, His Excellency Sheikh Hassan Nasib Rahman, I want to thank you formally for attending this important conference. But I ask you to do one thing as you leave this evening. Keep fighting terrorism. Keep standing together against hate and division, and never give up on the dream of a better future. Thank you very much for listening to me.